And what's up, guys? What's up? What's
Happy
up?
Revenge of the 5th.
Exactly. This is my day. I know May the 4th be with you kind of guy. All right, guys. So, as you can see, Alex ain't here with us right now. Neither is Carla, but you got us too. So, it is Star Wars week, so we had to get something going. But it is what it is. So right now, this is kind of just going to be like a, in general, Star Wars discussion. Nothing really particular.
Our most sporadic podcast yet. But it's Star Wars, so
it could be a lot of things though, so it's gonna be great. But anybody's there, so if you're watching, drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe to both me and Alex's channel. They do us some good. They do us a lot of good.
Yep. And I know you have some questions, Lucas. But my question to you is, what's the last bit of Star Wars content you've been on? Was it The Mandalorian? Or have you you haven't watched The Bad Batch, which just dropped yesterday,
the
first episode.
So the newest thing I probably would have watched was the season 2 of Mandalorian.
Okay, because I have not finished Clone Wars yet, but I just got to season 5. Okay. So loving it. It takes a lot for me to get into something like that. I'm not as big of a Clone Wars fan as most of my friends or Lucas here. So
I'd have to revisit the series. I definitely stopped watching it when it came off air, and I've watched bits and pieces over, the course of my life. Like I still watch the lightsaber fight scenes and stuff, but it's a show I definitely need to watch from beginning to end again to revisit. And I wanted to do that, and so funny enough, I haven't seen the final season of Clone Wars they released, so a little behind. But real life exists, so
does it?
It exists. Yeah. Oh my God.
We have to leave Star Wars every once in a while. Oh, so sad.
It hurts.
So sad.
It hurts so much.
Sometimes. Then you have Solo, and then it's kind of or may I even say Rise of Skywalker to be very divisive.
Rise of Skywalker is the worst thing I've ever experienced for Star Wars, but that's my opinion, guys. I mean, I'm sure it's some of you newfangled dangle new Star Wars fans out there like it, but it's definitely not my cup of tea. But right. But I mean, moving forward, I mean, we can all talk about Star Wars, right? No matter what, we all like Star Wars no matter what.
If you're a normal person, you at least like it a little bit.
It used to be one of those things where it's you had to be nerdy or geeky or something or other to be really into Star Wars. But now it's
mainstream,
normal. It's normalized. It's an interesting world we live in right now, for sure. But hey, Jake, he said Jake Griffin over here, first one on the stream, guys. Of course.
Thank you very much.
And then we got Katrina as well. Hey, Katrina, what's up?
All right, start over. Guys. Okay.
Let's go back to the beginning. Rewind.
Yeah. All right, play the intro again. Yep.
Let's go back. All right, but so this is generally what I want to ask you guys. Just starting off is what do you like about Star Wars and what makes you most invested in the series? It could be the movies, it could be the comics, it could be some of the video games. Just what makes you a Star Wars fan? That's just the most broad, might be the most broad question asked, but at the same time, it's the most, I think, personal question I could ask.
Yeah, to sum it up, now, while we're waiting on Jake Legends, while we're waiting on people to fill in their comments, I would say I might be the only guy in the world. I think John Williams is the number one reason I like Star Wars because
hey, Chris,
we just have hi Chris and Scott. We have so much wonderful music created. I think it's the best part of Star Wars to where you don't, after you've seen the movies and heard the music, any time of the day you could be humming the while you're working and be in the cantina, in your head. It's just so synonymous. It is so unique, so recognizable. It is probably the most recognizable film score of all time, to be honest. to where anybody can sit there and zone out into that music. That is my favorite part. And just the idea, I'm a big sci-fi guy and I love escapism. So those are my biggest reasons Star Wars does escapism and adventures as well. It's an adventure in space, and the conflicts that arise, my favorite part.
You got Jake over here so far. He said Legends. Yeah. And I agree, Jake. A lot of Legends stuff is a lot of good. There's a lot of good stuff in there. So for me, Star Wars is a medieval fantasy inside of space. Like, it's not, whereas like Star Trek is like future, what could be happening in our future. It's more of like a D&D campaign, but in space.
Mm-hmm.
That's essentially what it is. And I love that like feel of it. Like the Force is magic, and then like you have your wizards, and you have your which are Jedi, and then you have your like necromancers, which are Sith, and then you have like your knights, and just I like that aspect of it. I like how expansive the universe has gotten over time. Like there's languages for some of these like races. Like who took the time to make a coherent language?
There was Klingon, though. Force users, wouldn't they be paladins? If we're talking about D&D, Jake's asking
gotcha
question.
Let's see. For first, Katrina, all different storylines is what makes me so invested. There's a lot of storylines, but the movies mainly touch on the Skywalker storyline. Unfortunately, that's the main continuity we have right now. But with Mandalorian, and then like Han Solo, the Solo movie, and then Rogue One, you got to expand a little bit outside the Skywalker saga, which is really nice for the like mainstream audiences.
And we're moving away from the Skywalkers with the future.
Yeah. Jake says born with the powers, and he's saying, speaking of D&D, what class are the Force users?
I don't know enough about D&D to answer that, but I would maybe say paladins because of their religious aspect.
I would too, personally, but I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat as Justin. I'm not super well versed in D&D, but I've played enough to understand what's going on.
I would defer to you, Jake, because you're the D&D guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Me and Lucas haven't seen Bad Batch yet.
Haven't yet. No, I wanted to watch the final season. Well, yes and no. Yeah. I haven't seen the final season of Clone Wars yet, but I wanted to like reinvest my time into the whole Clone Wars series, which I haven't been able to.
And I think I said before you were here, I just got to season 5, so I'm catching up. I've been season 4. I didn't like too much until I don't want to spoil it yet. I know it's old, but Sorcerer Paladin, yeah.
So Paladins.
Maybe I do know.
We're halfway right, and then I said magic, so magic users. It's all good.
Wait, anyways, magic in D&D? No.
What is this? Another podcast inside of a podcast?
Yeah, right.
What is so? But that's one of my main factors of it. I also like the designs, like the physical designs of the characters, and like the world, and like the way the ships look. I think I talked about that in our last podcast about A New Hope, how like one of the things I liked about Star Wars a lot is with the way the ships look, like the designs of the ships. I really do like any type of the machinery that they have within this world is really amazing looking. Like I like in the prequels how everyone has like a different lightsaber, and like it's well fitted to that person. Just
right.
There's a lot of things I like.
Yeah. Sequels, it's only Luke's lightsaber or Anakin's lightsaber, just used by like 7 different people. It's like
there's more out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's generally what my likes of Star Wars is. Like just what I like about it is like the medieval.
I wanted to
inside of space.
Last podcast when we were talking about A New Hope, I was talking about the archetype of the 3 characters, the 2 guys and 1 girl. I didn't give any examples, but having had some time to think about it, I just want to say Harry Potter, Harry, Ron, Hermione. Ron, not as charming, but ultimately the love interest between Hermione and him, very Han Solo, Leia, very very similar. Luke and Harry being the main driver of the series, very similar. Pirates of the Caribbean, you got Jack Sparrow, Will Turner, Elizabeth, same thing. So Star Wars created that archetype of adventure movies, and they did it the best, I think. Star Wars.
Katrina says she's still watching Clone Wars, but she had to watch Bad Batch. I mean, the trailer for Bad Batch made me want to watch it. they showcase Fennec Shan, who was in Mandalorian, and then also it's like what happened to the clones after the war. So it's we all know what happens, like right after the war, but we don't know what happens after the war, like the continuation of what happens. So I definitely wanted to say, screw it and watch Bad Batch, but at the same time, I do want to watch that final season of Clone Wars that I haven't been able to.
I think that makes sense. Jake is for someone like me who's not as familiar with the Legends. You and Lucas have a lot more knowledge in that. What about Legends, Lucas? Have you read or have you been exposed to that resonates with you versus? And Jake can say stuff in the comments as well.
I really like Mara Jade as a character.
So that's a Legends character?
She is. She's a Legends character.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
I really like Mara Jade as a character. I like Star Wars Legacy, the comic book that came out that was like years in the future with Darth Krayt and Cade Skywalker. I like the formation of the Sith, how they were like a race of beings to begin with, and they used like ancient technology instead of like lightsabers and stuff. They imbued their weapons with actual magic and were able to like fight other people. But then lightsabers came into being, and they were like, okay, let's stop using these and use these like new technologically advanced weaponry.
Right.
It's stuff like that. It's like the good versus evil that I really like. It just black and white good versus evil that I really like about Star Wars and the stuff that comes from Legends.
You don't like a lot of nuance and conflicts, huh?
I like conflict, but I like just like the good guy versus the bad guy. Like the bad guy looks like the bad guy, and the good guy looks like the good guy.
Okay.
I mean, it's basic, and
it certainly makes cosplaying easier for sure. You know. Jake is
He's throwing some Legend stuff up. Sith race, creation of Jedi, yellow Force lightning used by single Jedi in history. See, I don't know about the yellow Force lightning, but like the Sith race was when I started to like do my deep dives. I really, really enjoy like learning about where the Sith actually come from.
Uh-huh.
Oh wow, Plo Koon. Was he the yellow lightning guy? Okay, Plo Koon, get it.
He always just I like his design. Speaking of Plo Koon, he's just always in Clone Wars. You just always know, like whenever you see him, you're like, oh, everything's gonna be okay because Plo Koon is here. He's fine.
Master Plo Koon. No,
which speaking of, now that he brought up Plo Koon, right? One of the things that Star Wars has always done is they're very creative about coming up with names, right?
Mm-hmm. Of course.
And so you have Jabba the Hutt.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Lando Calrissian, Kylo Ren, Palpatine, all these different names. And yet in Solo, instead of his name just being Solo, they literally are like, you're alone, so we're just going to call you Solo. That was so dumb.
I mean, we already know that movie was on the barbecue being fried up for trash. So,
but yeah,
I don't want to tear into that movie.
If anybody can relate, in the comments, this is whenever I talk to others more passionate Star Wars fans, I always get flack because I told them I don't like to delve into the extended universe, the lore, the Legends content, because what ends up happening is it just frustrates me with what we're treated to in the movies and how much better it could be had they taken some of those elements that were just not treated to. And I don't want to get my hopes up. I don't want to imagine.
I agree, Jake. I agree so much.
Yes.
Even though I don't really like Han as a character, but I agree.
I don't know if it undoes it. If you count that as canon, it does. But if you just take it for a fun romp adventure movie, fine. But the idea of Solo, since we're getting into Solo as a topic. The idea of Solo is everything special about Han Solo, for the most part, happened to him in a week or so, like a few days. And then me and Jake were talking earlier about there's a element of the plot where the ship is being flown by a droid's computer, to take away from Han's specific abilities as a pilot, about one of the best pilots. So he loses credence as a really capable pilot, because in Solo they basically say, oh, well, the computer's doing most of the work, which then leads into the sequel trilogy of everybody can just fly the Millennium Falcon. Like, everybody's doing fine. Nobody ever has, you get Poe flying it, you get Rey flying it. I mean, everybody's just flying the Falcon. And I
mean, it makes sense then, right?
It does, but it's also like it detracts from Han Solo's character of being a legendary pilot.
It does. Katrina, don't take my wrench away because I hated Solo. I mean, I didn't like it. I mean, I saw it as a Star Wars movie, and that's it. I didn't like it. I enjoyed it for the fact that there's more Star Wars content for me now, and that Darth Maul is at the end of the movie just as like a little tease, because I love me some Darth Maul. But
it is a fun adventure movie with really interesting set design, ship design, costume design, and some fun action. But it is not beyond that. As far as doing anything profound with the story, it doesn't really do it for me. It's not something I rewatch. I still own it because if it's Star Wars canon, I want it. And, thankfully I have Disney Plus, so I don't kind of go collect all the Clone Wars. But yeah, Solo doesn't do it for me. So I haven't read any of the Legends. I also haven't seen any of Rebels. But
Rebels is good. I do like Rebels.
I haven't finished Clone Wars. I haven't seen Bad Batch. Everything else I have seen. Played almost all the video games, which I don't even know if we were going to discuss the video games.
We can discuss whatever, my friend. This is just Star Wars discussion.
Right. But like growing up, I got exposed to Star Wars more until I was a late teenager from the video games and the movies, because the movies were they would play them on FX, but I didn't have them. My family didn't have the Star Wars movies, so I couldn't watch them when I wanted to. So I would get to see them every once in a while when they were on. But most of my exposure to Star Wars as a young kid was actually from the video games, to where I remember playing. There was a pod racing game back in the day
for Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
Yes.
So fun.
So good.
It's probably horrible now if you play it today, but like I would totally, if they were to do like a next gen pod racing game, I would be totally down on that.
I'd be down. Mario Kart, but with pod racers. Bet.
And speaking of the modern Star Wars video games, for the most part, have been very underwhelming, with the exception of Star Wars Fallen Order, which I think is dethroned, very hard to dethrone Knights of the Old Republic for me as the best Star Wars game, because Knights of the Old Republic is trying to replay it. Its interface is very annoying, but the story, it's probably my favorite story in Star Wars. But we did a Mortal Kombat review.
Jake says KOTOR.
Yeah. And it's hard. It's hard to choose. 64. It's hard to choose, but like when I think of what Star Wars is, KOTOR is very different. KOTOR is I associate with BioWare more than I do with Star Wars, because it's a great BioWare story. But I think Fallen Order, the soundtrack, the original music is one of the best John Williams clones that we've had. I think you might be frozen, Lucas.
Looks like I am frozen. What's going on here? 1 second, guys. Nope, still frozen.
So Lucas just visited Bespin and got sunk into some carbonite.
Ooh,
now he's refrozen.
You saw that?
He's refrozen. You look like Jar Jar Binks for a second.
It just came back all the way out. I was like, oh no! It went super fast for me. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Technical difficulties.
No worries. But Fallen Order has like the designs of the ships and everything. Because it's modern, it has it takes advantage of a lot of those things. Yeah, well, again, we're talking about the story of KOTOR is definitely better, and it's just like if I had to replay something right now, KOTOR I've tried to replay in the last 4 years, and I get about halfway through, and it's hard.
You know what
It's
game
hard.
for me was the biggest thing for Star Wars was Star Wars Bounty Hunter. That
Oh
game
yeah,
was so much fun.
Just spam the X button to shoot. Just
Star
like
Wars Bounty Hunter, Jedi Outcast 2 was such a great game. Republic Commando was such a great game. Like
we
those are
Force Awakens was fun too. Yeah, our Force Unleashed.
Force Unleashed. I'm about to say all those games are like my go-to Star Wars games.
Right.
I never played Battlefront. I didn't play Battlefront growing up. I didn't play Battlefront 2 that came out. I didn't play that. And Rogue Squadron 2.
Yeah, it's actually better than the new Squadrons game, in my opinion.
God.
Yeah.
So like all the older Star Wars games, so freaking good, freaking good. Actually, I'm staring at Fallen Order right now. I haven't actually got to play it yet because of life, but
yeah, I died, so I got to play it. So Lucas is still alive. But I'm just a Force ghost.
Oh.
I mean, Outcast. Like one of the things, like I like Kyle Katarn as a character, but they never knew what to do with him later on, so they just kept having him appear. But you were like, how did he get here? Like, how did he end up here? And when I was in high school, I actually read some Kyle Katarn books, and he was cool. I don't really remember them too much, but with Outcast and everything, Kyle Katarn is cool.
BP out of CLT says Jedi Outcast and KOTOR was his favorite series as well. Their favorite series as well. Yeah, man. Like I played at KOTOR. I never really like invested too much time into it when I was younger because like long RPG style games were very too much for me when I was younger. It sounds silly, but I was more of like a fighting gamer or like platform gamer when I'm younger, right? As I got older, I've got more into like the longer style cinematic games, RPG games, basically.
There was a 2D fighting game for Star Wars that was extremely cordy, and it was like Mortal Kombat, but it was
wasn't
so
it like
dumb.
Fighters of Bespin or something?
No.
Wasn't it called?
Maybe it's so obscure, but I had that. I think that was for like PlayStation 1. I had that, and then they had Jedi Power Battles, which was really cool. And I even I was such a Star Wars simp as a teenager. I even liked the movie version of Episode 3, the video game version of Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, which is really bad. It is a bad.
Can we talk about Lego Star Wars? Because those are dope. I'm not joking either. I can still play a Lego game to this day.
Hey, Bus Proof, BP is here.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, Jedi Outcast and KOTOR. Yep.
100%.
And I mean, it's hard. It's hard for me to say Fallen Order is better than KOTOR, but just because it takes advantage of all the modern technology, and it's really pretty. It looks like you're watching a Star Wars movie more so than anything else. With the production value.
Katrina says her kids for Lego Star Wars as well.
Of course. But
I mean, it's the same thing as so sidestep Marvel real quick. Yes, Spider-Man for PS4 is a brilliant game and probably the best Spider-Man game we're ever going to have. But I like Ultimate Spider-Man still is one of my favorite Spider-Man games. So it's like it's an older game,
right?
Less technologically advanced. It's something you grow up with. So of course it's going to be better. But whereas the better Spider-Man game in general is one for PS4. So it's along the same lines as that for KOTOR and Fallen Order.
Okay. So getting away from the games, because there's a lot. Star Wars, like we said, we could talk about so much different types of things with Star Wars. We got video games. We got now we even have TV shows, really like live action TV shows, which we didn't have.
And comic books. We can even get into comic books or novels.
Well,
we're talking
about Legends. But yeah, just to reiterate, one final thing about KOTOR. Like I said, I think that is the most interesting story of the Star Wars universe from start to finish. The plot, it's just really cool, interesting, and it has like really good character building in that, more so I think than anything else. And HK-47, but best Star Wars character ever, besides Jar Jar. Just kidding.
Star Wars is the Sith Lord. He is higher than Palpatine. He is the controller of all.
All right. Whatever.
I'm heading home, you guys. Hello, everyone. I'll be there soon.
Yeah.
All right, Alex. Get your butt in here soon, man.
Get your bat butt in here.
Your bat booty.
Yeah.
Hey, I said it.
To the bat booty. Anyway.
To the bat booty, everyone. To the booty of the bats.
So, we'll talk about video games. We also when we're talking about Star Wars, we have to talk about the cultural impact of the things we do it in New Hope last week. I was thinking we were going to do like an Empire Strikes Back stream, but we're just doing this today. But you have to talk about the plot twist of the "I am your father," which another trope that has been copied a lot between all these different stories that have come out afterwards. But that moment, it's like if a genie gave me 3 wishes, one of them would be to have my memory wiped temporarily so I could go sit in the premiere theater in 78 or 82 or whenever Empire came out, to be exposed to Darth Vader revealing that, no, I'm your father, because that starts where we get Star Wars being one of the most quotable franchises of all time, with that probably being number 1 of quoting Star Wars.
One of the most misquoted franchises of all time. Oh
yeah, Mandela effect with the "I am your father," because he says, "I am your father," not "Luke, I'm your father." Or "No, I am your father." It doesn't really matter, but it is one of those fun facts. And it can frustrate you, but who cares? At the end of the day, if I could go back and put myself in a theater and hear that revealed to me, it just makes you wonder, because Star Wars was Lucas owned the rights. He had full control. If that would have been allowed to happen, if this movie had been owned by like a major studio, if they would have looked at that in the plot and been like, "What? You're going to make the bad guy the main guy's, the good guy's father? We don't like that." No, you got to wonder, if we would have gotten that.
Different time, different era.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the debacle of the sequels. They played it safe all the way through, and they played it overly safe with Rise of Skywalker. So look what they got. Last Jedi was the only one that took any kind of risks.
Yeah, we can get into that. I
was just vibing off of what you were saying about how he had all liberties and all controls of it, and no one could tell him no. Whereas now
that can be a good thing and a bad thing, though.
I mean, granted, he had basically all control for the prequels, and people didn't like what he gave them. I mean, I understand people have their opinions about things, but like it's in all said and done, the prequels are his. He made those. So if he wants to add stuff to his existing canon and make more, then like why are people getting mad at him for creating more of his own story?
Since we've touched on Jar Jar, one of the drawbacks of having control, and this is just speculation, is the idea that you don't have a studio backing you, so your movie has to fund the sequel. So, not that Star Wars had the hugest problem doing that, but when Lucas decided to put marketable characters in movies, such as the Ewoks, you're doing that to make money on the merchandising side. That when you don't have a studio backing you, there can be pressure to continuously do that. And I think Lucas may have been pressured to create merchandise just because of the popularity of, the previous toys that have been sold. And so I think when you're writing a movie for that, I think it can detract from the story. And I'm not saying that having a studio isn't going to also be like, hey, let's merchandise the heck out of this thing. It's just with Lucas, he had a lot more pressure to make more money so he could fund the next movie. And the prequels, there's a lot in there that you could see the marketing was shifting to a younger demographic rather than aging up with the audience of the original series, the original trilogy.
I agree with you, Jake, so much. Jake's on the Jar Jar's a Sith Lord train. Let's go, choo choo.
I just don't care enough. Like, whatever. He's not. It didn't
Yellow
happen.
eyes,
it could have happened.
Amazing backflips. Able to fight off destroyer droids when no one else could. Get it, Jar Jar.
Do you know why he was agile? Because he was a poorly created CG character without a skeleton. That's why he wasn't like.
I can't.
It's one of my problems with the Clone Wars is whenever the Jedis jump, and do flips and all kinds. They run around like monkeys in the Clone Wars because it's animation. When you watch the movies, they don't do that. They'll do flips. They'll jump really high, but they don't do like scrambling around moves or cartwheels and stuff. Like they don't do that kind of. Maybe Yoda does, but he's CGI character.
I mean, you can only do so much with human actors, and you don't want to draw away from it. So.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, the agility comes from the fact
because he uses the dark side of the Force to enhance the CGI. I agree, man. Jar Jar for Sith Lord. All I'm saying.
I love the joke in Robot Chicken. It's like, your mom is so dumb. She think Jar Jar goes with pickles.
I think 30 minutes of the stream is just going to be me laughing at stupidity.
Whoa. Stupidity. That was brilliant.
It was.
I didn't come up with it. I can't claim ownership of that, but it is
good. All right. So next question I have for you guys out there, since, we've talked about Star Wars nonstop, but what is a character that you like or resonate with? Like, what is a character that you want to watch or want to read about, or maybe want to cosplay, maybe want to, be friends with if they were real? Justin?
Oh, me? I didn't know if you're asking the comments. Do you have an answer?
First.
I'm thinking because, like, I could be silly and say Unkar Plutt, who is the guy in Force Awakens saying 1/4 portion. But I don't know. It's a hard question because you resonate with the trio in the original trilogy because their chemistry, and so you're like, I could see myself getting on board with that. I think it's hard. It's
Jake,
hard.
Don't forget to chop that like, guys.
Yep.
Don't forget.
And it's one of those things where, like, I like certain characters, like, but I've had enough of a lot. I want new characters, right? I think I'm really liking Mando or Din Djarin in the Mandalorian. Even though he's not really doing much. I think Ahsoka. I think Ahsoka would be from the Clone Wars. I'm I'm sad that it's Babu Frick. You're talking about the hey
Babu Frick.
Hey. The little puppet that fixes droids.
Tiny mite-sized little
that was
smarticles.
That's when creativity is going good right there, because I really liked that. Hey. What was I saying? So in Clone Wars, there's not as much Ahsoka as I thought there would be in the first 4 seasons at least, and I'm like, okay, that's weird. But we've seen her develop at this point, and I really like how I think of all the characters in Star Wars, she has one of the best arcs, because she starts out as a kind of all over the place, flying by the seat of her pants, very, very, very much like Anakin, very much letting her emotions get the best of her.
Whisper's asking, does Rise of Skywalker negate Return of the Jedi and Anakin fulfilling the prophecy?
My theory is that the prophecy was just not a thing. Like the prophecy just wasn't real. Like they thought it was real, but it just was wrong. They got it wrong. Because I've tried to sit there and be like, balance to the Force? What is, but if the more you think about it, there's always, if you stop and think about it, Luke bringing balance to the Force means there would be one Jedi, one Sith, blah, 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 blah. Or, which is dumb because you don't want any Sith because all you need is one Sith to screw everything up for everybody. So it's like, I don't know. It's so hard to think.
I mean, I think along the lines of you two, whereas like I agree that if you have to have balance, you have to have one or a one. But at the end game is to get rid of all evil, right? Like evil should not exist. But there will always be
Sith Lords. Not with Sith Lords.
But there will always be evil to combat good. So if Anakin was the chosen one, it wasn't conveyed very well. And just the payoff wasn't where it should be. If that was their actual game plan.
Yeah, I think it was just the Jedi's put too much stock. It might have been Palpatine influencing the prophecies to
be able to bring Anakin into the womb. Yeah. Well, into the fold. Sorry.
Yeah, into the womb. He did that too, though. Theoretically.
Yeah, I willed him into existence.
Space Jesus. Evil Space Jesus.
Jake says the Apprentice is the character he resonates with the best.
Starkiller,
yeah.
Yeah. I totally agree. I forget exactly. That was a beautiful story, not part of canon. I liked Sam Witwer, who plays him.
Balance. There were far too many Jedi. Anakin had to level the field. You're 100% correct. Yeah. Even the younglings with his Youngling Slayer 3000, just all gone.
So yeah, and this it's just one of those things where I think the easiest answer, Occam's razor, the prophecy was wrong, but you can, as an artist objective, that argument also works. Like Anakin got rid of a lot of the Jedi, and going back to The Apprentice, so Sam Witwer plays Starkiller, and he's also played Maul. He voiced Palpatine in a lot of the video games. He's a big Star Wars fan. He's a great actor who just doesn't ever get any breakout roles, and it sucks because I love him. And he just really understands Star Wars. So I just want to shout out Sam Witwer. But Jake is doing some Star Wars quotes to lend credence to the idea that this is the most quotable franchise of all time. I mean, half of everything Yoda says,
do or do not. There is no try.
Do or do not. There's no try. In one monologue, we get all of the most quotable Star Wars quotes from Yoda, and like he says, "You must unlearn what you have learned. Size matters not. My ally is the Force, and a powerful ally it is." That's my favorite. Like, I love when he goes into that, and he's like, Luke is like, "You want it? I don't believe it," and he goes, "That is why you fail." Yoda has all those quotable lines. The Empire Strikes Back, probably one of the most quoted is, "I thought they smelled bad on the outside with the Tauntauns."
It's super quotable movie.
I love you. I know. Like, it's just so
those are on shirts. People just wear them all the time at theme parks.
There's literally there's endless quotes. Hello there.
Whisper also asks, is the new trilogy too far away from Lucas's vision? Did Disney wing it too much to the point they lost credibility? Hence, shouldn't it be canon? I agree. I think it should be
canon because it's very expensive.
I think it should be a what if story, like a space between space. I think that they should bring in Legends continuity and make that the actual continuation of Star Wars. personally, or actually go with Duel of Fates as the last movie instead of actually being Rise of Skywalkers.
I don't think we're getting that.
I don't think we are either. I mean, Disney isn't like all these other studios that are being bullied into like rewriting their franchises. Disney will stick with its guns and be like, "Hey, you get what you get because you're gonna eat it up and buy it no matter what."
I have tempered my expectations, and it just goes, to strengthen my argument for the idea of me not reading Legends. Like, I've already played KOTOR. I know how epic that story is. I know how epic and interesting that time period is, but it's just so far away if we're even going to get it at all where we get to that. And my expectations are so high up that I don't want to get any more expectations. And I think my favorite movie, I mean, I don't know if we're getting into that question yet, but
I mean, we can. I can throw that up there.
Alex. No, Alex?
No.
Baby.
Yeah, and directors aren't necessary, but maybe writers are more, because the original trilogy had, I think, 3 different directors, right? So it's not like it's a necessity to have, but it's you have to have a very great collaboration, a great plan, and they just didn't have a plan. And The Force Awakens is, I piss a lot of people off when I say this, but my favorite movie is Force Awakens, because it's the movie that captures what Star Wars is to me in a way where not only does it succeed in doing that, but it also modernizes it, and the pacing is even better than the original. Maybe not better, but it's the quintessential adventure film. And the best thing about it is that by the end of it, you have the greatest beginnings to like 4 or 5 different characters with so much potential. That is why the future installments in that sequel trilogy are so disappointing, because none of their development in the first movie is really paid off. You can argue, but it's just it's not there for me, and sad.
So we got Whisper again. Our theory is that Last Jedi derailed Disney's plan and Disney made a poor lazy sequel. I agree with that, actually, 100%. They should have had a plan in the beginning, and since Sidious would have been part of the plan along. So in Legend, Sidious lives on. Like, he keeps making clones of himself to hop into body to body to body to body over and over again. So him coming back is kind of them utilizing like Legends, but not utilizing Legends, if that makes sense. But I do think it was a very sloppy ending, and I do think Last Jedi was like a kick in the pants, essentially. Like, I like what Last Jedi did. Like, out of the sequels, I like that movie a lot after rewatching it again. Like, I really do. I like that one out of the sequels. Is it one in my top Star Wars movies? No. But is it my favorite sequel? Yes. But
in all the, like, if you look at all the Skywalker films, I like them all. Like, even the ones that are hated, that would have been cool.
That would have been awesome.
Cool. But that's the thing. It's like, it's all of the sequel trilogy is the idea of the what could have been, and that's all it ever will be, because they're not brave enough to set the precedent that they can retcon the new trilogy to then do another one, or they would set a giant precedent in Hollywood, which would be cool for fans, but at the same time, it's like, it's not that the story is unsalvageable. There's a lot of content that you could create around that story that is better. I mean, Mandalorian has proven that. And it's always just the idea of, the second. So Last Jedi, my number one problem with all of Star Wars, if I ever, the one thing that like legitimately just makes me so angry is the fact that during one of the battles, there was a kamikaze suicide run of the spaceship with light speed through another ship, or another like 10 ships. And it was super effective to the point where instantly took out like a fleet of Star Destroyers. Which, if you look at all of the Star Wars lore, you can certainly play some writer's magic to make that a thing, like to explain that away. But at the same time, it's one of those things like, why has that not been tried before? Why would that not just always be a thing? And then the idea of why have a human pilot the ship when you can have a droid pilot the ship? We have droids. There's never a need for a kamikaze thing. And again, it's like I said, Jake is saying it was explained in Legends, but it's one of those things that you shouldn't need to explain something like that. It just shouldn't be there, in my opinion. It just makes me mad. I'm not a fan of that, and I think there's other things.
I do think Kennedy needs to take blame because there was tons of stuff that they pulled from. Like just like look, see how he says explained in pre-trilogy, having been a tactic, like you were talking about, how you two talked in person about it, like clearly they are using stuff from Legends, but they're not telling the fans that they're using stuff from Legends. And that's the most aggravating thing, because they've gone multiple times on record saying Legends is not canon. So why then are you pulling stuff from Legends, but then like bastardizing it into something that is not good?
You don't know why? I know why.
I'm saying, like, in general,
they're doing that. So for those of you who don't, it's a stupid reason, but they're doing it because saying that it's not canon means that they're never chained to fulfilling that content and adapting it. They can always do new things, and they can have whatever they want to do. They have more creative freedom without having to adapt things. That's why they're doing that. Now, is that the right thing to do because Legend is so popular? No. But
just like there's stuff in Mandalorian that came out that was from Legends, and then they also like made other things also canon as well, like the Darksaber at the end of season 1, and then like the survival of Boba Fett, which is in Legends. So it's like they're taking the liberties from Legends of stuff they want to use, but they're not telling us that they're like, hey guys, so we're finally giving you the payoff that you always wanted.
And Busproof says money.
So Whisper says at last point, Johnson derailed the audience for the audience's sake, not for the vision's sake. Therefore, J salvaged the Chasters and Palpatine makes no sense for the reason prior to 2 movies. I agree. I mean, I didn't want Palpatine to be involved, but at the same time, I was with Justin when I saw Force Awakens. I looked at him and said, Rey's related to Palpatine somehow. Did I not?
Well, at the time,
at the end of the movie,
they had set it up to where she could be related to Obi-Wan, Palpatine, like so many different people. They made it ambiguous, and they didn't have that planned.
Exactly.
So it was just one of those potentials that was fulfilled. And we both looked at it because she has the same fighting style of Palpatine.
Exactly.
She does a lot of stabs.
And the anger and the closeness to the dark side is all the stuff I saw within Force Awakens,
which is establishing new rules in the Skywalkers. And I'm not talking about if you have to look into the Legends, which just seems like a lot of Legends just seem. Katrina's asking what Legends is.
There we go. I'm trying to find that one. She says she feels dumb. Don't feel dumb, Katrina. So Legends is basically all the novels, all the comic books, all the video games, all the stories that Disney decided they didn't want to be canon. So when Disney got a hold of the property, they essentially said, "Hey guys, sorry guys. So coming in at a later than better notice is dun dun dun, Alex."
Hey, what's up? Can you hear me?
Oh, I thought he was doing that.
No. Can you guys hear me? Am I good?
Yep.
Yeah, good. Yep. You're good, man.
Hi, Alex.
Welcome to the party.
Hi. I'm glad you know what to say, better late than never to the party. Party doesn't
pretty late to this party this time, buddy.
It was
party
your
doesn't
turn.
happen until late. That's why people show up to parties late. So I'm the cool one here in the stream. Just kidding.
It was Alex's turn to go to Tashi Station and pick up power converters.
All
But
right.
anyway,
Well,
sorry, Katrina did ask Legends, right? So, and I was going into it's just Disney decided that they wanted to make Clone Wars, all the movies,
Mhm.
the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy, and then their sequel trilogy, and now Mandalorian and Rebels were the only things that were canon. During that time, they made Resistance, and they also made Galaxy's Edge and all this other stuff that they made canon, right? That's what they wanted. But in the long run, they start using stuff from Legends during Mandalorian.
And it's real unfortunate that when it comes to their theme parks and their side stuff, they can be so cohesive. But with the sequel trilogy, they're like, I don't know, figure it out, guys. No plan. They can do it. They can be cohesive. They can be like, all right, we're going to have Resistance. We're going to have this tied to that and all this with the theme park being themed with the new trilogy. Ugh, so annoying.
Jake asked, did we know who Maul was when we showed up in the film?
He's responding to Whisper's comment about Grievous being, yeah.
There it is. Sorry. No idea it was beginning of Revenge of the Sith. See, that's the thing is like, so one of my favorite Star Wars mediums is the Jendy Tarkovsky's micro series, Star Wars Clone Wars. Not to be mistaken,
2D cartoon.
Disney's now owned Star Wars Clone Wars. So the Jendy Tarkovsky's 2D cartoon is probably one of the best Star Wars mediums that I've ever seen. Like visually stunning. It's action packed. Has not much dialogue. The animation's brilliant. The colors are brilliant. And you get to see these characters as I think they should be, as a fantasy element. And you also get to see the war aspect of Star Wars. And Grievous is introduced in that series.
That came out before Revenge of the Sith.
Exactly. It was like a tease for Revenge of the Sith, essentially. That's what Cartoon Network did. It was just like a segue into it, because at the end of that series is the huge dogfight over Coruscant. So that was our introduction to Grievous. But do you think people watch that? No. And that's the sadness of it, is you go into this thing like General Grievous being this like decrepit, like easily beaten, like old battle droid. Basically, no one knows he's a cyborg. No one knows he can fend off like 20 Jedi at once and beat them all to like a pulp. But we just get this like 4-armed weird robot that gets trumped with a hello there.
Every time I see Revenge of the Sith, I always feel like the Obi-Wan v. Grievous fight is shorter, because it's so short. When like they get rid of lightsabers real quick in that fight, and it turns into a chase scene. So, but when I first saw it, when I left the movie theater, I was like, that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. But yeah, it's like very, very in and out. Like Obi-Wan loses his lightsaber, they end up fighting, and they run after each other, and it's not.
I think he really just made Grievous as a showcase to be like, hey, Obi-Wan didn't die during Order 66, but he killed off one of the general of the Clone Wars. I mean, the Clone Wars movies came from a joke from A New Hope, where it was like, oh, your father and I fought in the Clone Wars. Like, I really think, like, if George Lucas didn't drop that line inside the first movie, we probably would have never got Clone Wars. What if we got, like, the Robot Wars? What if it was literally just a bunch of robots fighting? What if it was just like, the Gungan Wars? What if it was
I'm happy with what we got.
You know?
I'm happy with what we got with that. I like the amount of story mining they've done with the clones in the series Clone Wars, and D. Bradley Baker voicing like 500 different characters. He voices the clones, by the way.
He does.
All the clones have their own character development in the show. So,
sorry, Alex, you're a little bit behind, but we have definitely talked about what Star Wars means. Sorry, we were going into a deep dive for a second, but
I see that.
So you coming into the stream though, what is it that you like about Star Wars, and what makes you so invested in Star Wars?
I would say, I guess because the first time watching Star Wars, I was really young. I probably was like 6 years old, and it was because my dad was watching it. And being that young, I think the thing that really caught my eye was Darth Vader. The lightsabers, thought they were pretty cool. Just like seeing the different colors and they're making sounds and they're just waving these things around. And you're a little kid. You know, I remember I went to go grab like a plastic sword because that was the closest thing as a lightsaber, and I would just kind of like imitate what they were doing on
The
screen.
Dollar
Yeah,
Tree lightsabers.
dollar, yeah, something like that. And
we all have one of those.
Yeah. So, and then I remember being amazed by Chewbacca and who else? I mean, and then Luke Skywalker too, because when I was young, you know, because he was like everyone was kind of like, I guess, the hero and well, at that age, you know, kind of watching everyone, you know, he was kind of supposed to be that one. And
look at that comment real quick because it's so true. It's so true because he gave the order to move on the clones.
Let Alex speak.
And even Jar Jar for Sith Lord.
I'm guessing I missed some stuff earlier.
No, I mean that. I don't know. Just you were saying about.
No, just yeah, just those characters. And as I got older and watching more, I think I just more had appreciation for Darth Vader, really. Darth Maul, you know, I don't know so much about Darth Maul, but I really digged him as a character.
Ray freaking Park. Stuntman.
If I can't remember, because here's the thing, I can't remember that one too much, but I feel like they could have done more with him in that movie. But I mean, just going away from the movies, but just him as a character. Who else? Yeah, and just, I mean, everything. Like, it's sci-fi. You got spaceships, you got, you know, like I said, something different, lightsabers, you got stormtroopers, you know, you got Jedis, you know, you got, I don't know, just everything was it's just amazing. And it's like, you know, no matter what you see in the different movies, it's like, or the different characters, like, yeah, I mean, everyone's gonna have a character they love or they hate. There's something that they love about Star Wars, whether it's the ships, you know, the starfighters, the TIE fighters, you know, even the video games. Like, one of the things I love about the video games, I don't know if you guys have talked about video games yet.
We talked about a bunch of stuff.
Oh. Well, let me go in and out of everything you guys were talking about.
Nice.
The Battlefront.
That was actually one we didn't touch on, so let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, so Battlefront, that's a really good video game.
OG Battlefront, right? Not
Yeah, OG Battlefront, yes.
Okay.
The second one's not bad though. I like the second one. And I can't remember if in the first one, I think it was in the first one, you know, you could be out and fly. It was online gaming and you could be either a starfighter. Well, they switched it up. You know, you start off starfighter and then TIE fighter, you switched up every round, whatever. And it was just amazing to be, I mean, the way they designed that game to control the two ships, you know, and just kind of like, you know, get your kills and everything. It was addictive. I remember I would play like for 7-8 hours straight of just that. And if it wasn't that, just the, you know, just the regular, like you said, the old school Battlefront, I would play for you know, just hours. And then me and my brother would just play like co-op and just kind of for hours. It was really good game.
Mhm.
I like the second one because obviously graphics are a little better. They add more characters, more ships.
Well, was it the second one that you could be doing a space battle and have a objective inside the flagship? So you'd have to land your ship inside the hangar, hop out of your ship and go blow something up, then hop back in your ship and then fly away.
Yeah,
we haven't gotten that since that, and that was amazing.
And I see Whispers comment. By the way, hi everyone in the chat, you know, because I kind of came in. But anyways, Battlefront 2, yes, on the PS2.
Mhm.
That was, I remember when that came out. Oh my gosh, I was in love with that one.
I will re-say it again. Bounty Hunter is my favorite Star Wars game.
I remember on Battlefront 2 where we would do the heroes on Tatooine, and so it'd just be Yoda fighting Darth Maul versus Count Dooku and Grievous. We'd just be hopping around in Tatooine, just like on Mos Eisley, and just Yoda coming out of nowhere. Just, you know, it was so fun to play multiplayer with like 7 or 8 different people doing that.
Yeah,
it was really great.
The cool thing too about Battlefront, I remember in the first one when they had you know, like whether if it was Yoda or one of the, I guess you could say Darth Vader coming in, and you try to kill them, you know, like on the battlefield, you would try to kill them because you get the points. But like, you know, I just remember that I was like, that's so cool. You just have like it's just like a battlefield. You're just like, you know, in war, and you're just like in a video game, and it wasn't bad at all. Like I said, the old school one or even the second Battlefront. And then even the one now that's on, like you could do on PlayStation 4 and Xbox. That one's a really good one too. I'm trying to think of other Star Wars games I played.
We've
I was
talked
in love
about
with that one.
KOTOR. We've talked about Knights of the Old Republic. We've talked about Squadrons, Force Unleashed,
Jedi Fallen Order.
Fallen Order.
See, I bought Squadron because I think out of all the different gameplays you can do on Star Wars, I just love being out in space and just controlling one of the two.
I think it's
Rogue
okay.
Squadron.
It's okay.
Rogue Squadron is a better fighter game.
You think so?
Well, that was more single player, right?
Yeah.
Like this one is more multiplayer focused for you to team up with your friends as a bunch of ships.
Hey, Yachty, how you doing?
But I'm not liking the design, how you fly the ships, but it's also designed to be a VR game. So I would like to play it in VR to really have an opinion, because it feels janky on a controller. It doesn't feel right. I think the new Squadrons game, I'm still going to power through it.
Completely agree that the new Battlefront was Call of Duty, like in space.
Right.
Completely agree. I mean, I didn't play it,
really
and I'm not going to play it because I don't like Call of Duty.
Yeah.
So that's literally, I saw it and I was like, there's no interest in this at all for me.
It's one of those things where, yeah, you can play as Darth Maul, but when you pick Darth Maul when you're playing multiplayer, everybody shoots you at the same time because you're the most powerful person there. And so you end up being Darth Maul, maybe getting a kill, and then you can't be Darth Maul again. It's back to being a regular clone trooper or whatever.
Don't they have like a heroes versus villains mode where you don't even have to play as someone who shoots?
But like if you're the way they've designed when you're a hero like Darth Maul, if you hit someone with a lightsaber, it's not like a lightsaber battle. It's like, I'm going to hit you in the chest with my lightsaber until your health bar goes down.
Oh, gross.
Okay. You know, and you're both like swinging lightsaber. You're not deflecting. You're not doing any of that. You can't deflect. You can deflect laser bolts to an extent as a Jedi character, but it's not fun. Like,
yeah,
like
no,
whenever
that's a harder
and
pass
the idea, like I said, the idea of like, if you, yeah, it's not a, it feels like an arcade game, to be honest. It feels like something you would go to put a quarter in and play for like 5 minutes.
Here comes my wife with her best quote that she can ever throw at me about Star Wars.
Liar.
So if Carlos, so if Anakin was a different actor, is he still the best part of Star Wars? Just, you know, maybe like an ugly guy.
oh, she's one of those. Okay.
Appreciate the over-shoulder point of view of Battlefront. I mean, I like the over-shoulder better. I mean, I really like Resident Evil 4 as a game, and it kind of made me feel like I was playing Resident Evil 4, even though it's not the same game, right? It's not the same game at all, but it's more or less that style of shooter. I don't like first-person shooters at all.
To be fair, you can play the new Battlefront games in third person. You can switch between first and third person whenever you want.
Yeah. Oh, see, I don't know that.
Yeah, you could switch it up so whatever you feel comfortable. If you're like, oh, you know, if you want to do over.
Not with Squadrons.
Oh, you can't do that with Squadrons. See, I bought
only
Squadrons, but it's still in its plastic. And yeah, I
only
haven't
first
opened it
person.
up there.
It does. I mean, I don't know if it forces you or not, Jake, but I definitely is not something that I've been interested in.
Which game? Battlefront?
I'm assuming we're talking about Battlefront because that's what's been talked about all the time.
Okay.
Katrina with the I'm lost on the video games.
Blah, blah, blah.
My heart.
Well, Katrina, try like Battlefront. You know, if you like Star Wars, and I know you play some video games, go get Battlefront. Any of them, depending whatever system you have. I guess you can't say any of them, but
Carla, you need to calm your thirsty behind down.
It's hard to recommend the original.
No. She said, no. Unless it's Henry.
What?
Wow.
Oh my God, Carla. I can't even right now. Oh my god.
All right. Anyways,
yeah.
so let me hit you guys with this too. So since we're all over the place, but I can all agree that this is probably the thing most people have seen when it comes to Star Wars, where some of us are really versed in Legends, kind of versed in Legends, or just versed in the mainstream stuff. But what would your favorite movie in the Skywalker saga be? Only the Skywalker saga, so no Rogue One, no Han Solo. Alex,
The Ewok adventure.
Christmas special. No, seriously. Alex.
Let me think about that one.
What would be your favorite? Oh, maybe Justin has his already?
Well, I've already talked a little bit. Force Awakens is mine. It's, I love all the Star Wars movies, even Phantom Menace. And I do want to talk about Phantom Menace a little bit because anyway, but Force Awakens, obviously the best Star Wars, best beginning to all the Star Wars movies, hands down, not even close. Not even close. A New Hope has a similar beginning.
New Hope for Jake. My wife says
with Force Awakens. Force Awakens is such a clone of New Hope.
Whispers is inspired.
So you can use A New Hope. The fact that it's so similar to A New Hope to be really frustrating to you, that doesn't bother me because it's just for people who are born recently and growing up now. They're not going to be interested in New Hope if they see Force Awakens first.
True.
They're going to get the same experience that you have in A New Hope with the way the pacing is set up. The story beats are plot to plot to plot. There's a droid. He's got a MacGuffin. There's a MacGuffin hunt. They got to rescue a female character from prison who gets captured. All this nonsense. The same trio is kind of there. And then it ends with the big set piece of blowing up the giant super death weapon. But the beginning of that movie is just so good with the way that they have the stormtroopers coming down. They have the lights flickering where you have a squad of stormtroopers in the carrier and they hop out and there's this giant set piece. You see the introduction of Kylo Ren mirroring the introduction of Vader coming out of the hallway. So Kylo's coming down the ramp of the ship with smoke everywhere. So we're back to using practical effects instead of CGI. And it was just the most hyped for me I've ever been with Star Wars. Like, finally, we're getting a continuation of the story. It didn't go anywhere I wanted it to, but it began the path that I wanted to go this way, and it went that way. And the way it ended with Han Solo, spoiler alert, wearing his favorite jewelry as a laser stick through his chest. He got a little tattoo there. But just the end of Han Solo, the acting of Harrison Ford when he's seeing his son and when he sees Leia the first time, just we didn't need to know that they were apart for that long, except for this movie to have that moment when Han and Leia see each other and C-3PO is just in the way, like, hey, I got a red arm now. You probably don't recognize me, but I'm C-3PO. And Han's like, get out of here. Just go. And then him and Leia see each other. They hug. They have that little conversation where all of your childhood just comes back. Han and Leia seeing each other again for the first time, and for what feels like to you 30 years, but to them, however long it was since Ben Solo done went all crazy. And I love the end where Luke is just standing there with his hood, and you're like, I can't wait to see him cutting up some stormtroopers next movie and being real cool and coming back and being awesome. And then Last Jedi comes. It doesn't live up to that. It's still good. I have a lot of problems with it, but Mark Hamill's performance in Last Jedi, so good. But favorite is Force Awakens. That's all I'll say. We get John Williams came back. We didn't know that was going to happen, but he came back. He gave us Rey's theme, which is the undertone piano that has swells. It's the dun 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 dun. And Kylo's theme, which is the dun 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 dun, and the laser bolt scene too. That's
I've
all I
never
have to
said
say.
this to you, Justin. I really appreciate you like are able to pinpoint music like that.
Yeah. Thank
really
you.
do.
I appreciate your hair. It's just lovely. It's beautiful.
You know, just thinking about Kylo Ren, man, I just feel like if we're just gonna talk about, I mean, I'll answer my. Well, I guess I would say A New Hope.
Really? Versus A
Yeah,
New Hope? Okay.
but here's the thing: I need to rewatch again because there's been some I haven't watched for a while. But anyways, back to Justin's point about that opening scene, like that. I remember that scene, and I mean everything leading up to him just holding the, just like in midair, and I mean his presence, like I was like, okay, like the Darth Vader replacement, cool looking mask. The voice sounded good too, and then
and
he
his
turns.
personality, where he's just like, you're so
Like-
much, you're like your father. He goes, you're so right, and just nerves him. He's just.
Yeah,
I
and
love
it's
it.
like I feel like they had potential with Kylo and Finn. Yes, I was gonna make a point about Finn, but like Kylo would have been like, how we admire and love Darth Vader over the 3 film. Like that would have been Kylo, and he would have been intimidating. And here's the thing too, I had a problem with. He had a cool looking mask. The voice was great. And I forgot where in the movie he takes off his mask, and I'm like,
when he's interrogating Rey.
Yeah, and I'm like, why? I don't want to see his face. Like
It was a power move because she was challenging him to be like, oh, if you want to be your own person, why are you trying so hard to be Vader? And he's like, I don't need this mask to scare the crap out of you. And then she was like, ooh, he hot. But
yeah.
But
big like, old nose boy.
One of these strange feelings I'm having. And I loved Adam Driver. Like Kylo is one of my favorite elements about the new trilogy, but he doesn't live up to that first movie in a sense. But and again, the opening scene, A New Hope, the blockade runner, I think it's called, doing this with the Star Destroyer coming up behind it and then going from the bottom of the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen. This movie, camera pans down to a planet, Star Destroyers coming up like this. I'm like, oh, we've never seen that. And it's just the simple stuff like that. And then it's dark, it's silhouetted, so you can barely see like the details of the Star Destroyer. So the first time we get light is the flickering of the lights inside the carriers, and it's just like, oh, so spooky.
I will agree with you. It's probably one of the best openings.
Hands down.
I also agree with you because it's the darkest opening to a Star Wars movie. Like, not like lighting wise, but like what they're dealing with.
Yeah.
And that's what one of my favorite things is dark fantasy. Like things like Berserk and Goblin Slayer, some of the things I can say. They're animes, but that's, if anybody watching, that's what I'm really into, is like dark fantasy. And since Star Wars is a fantasy, seeing that like firing squad essentially and just destroying of a village just because he wanted a small piece of information, and we get to see it, and like the stuff they were tackling within the first 10-15 minutes in the movie, very very good. Very good, but that payoff was that what that made me feel was not what the sequel did at all.
And then my other point, Finn, I think he could have been like really a good addition to just that trilogy, and they just Kylo and Finn just. So someone, I forgot who was, someone left a comment. I think it was Whisper. Here it is. Disney should erase Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, start from Awakenings again, and just, yeah.
I mean, we can ask for that all day long, but the more we ask for it, the more it hurts. So I just try not to think about it. I just try to accept what we have and move on. Because
I'll say it again, and I'll say it again too. Like, Disney is not a company that will be bullied by the fans.
Right.
They're not.
The only thing they'll respond to is if you post stuff on Twitter they don't like, and then they'll be like, "Nope,
bye, Cara Dune."
Yeet.
But so New Hope and Force Awakens for you, and mine will be Revenge of the Sith. That is my favorite Star Wars movie in the Skywalker saga.
Yeah, that's up there, certainly.
It for me, like, so I like the Stark side. I like the Empire. I like the Sith. So literally watching the final fall of one of the greatest Sith of that era, if not one of the greatest Sith of all time, like watching him fall into the final descent was amazing. And it didn't just like it didn't show us like little bits and pieces of it. It literally showed us like what he did. Like,
I don't think they stuck the landing with that, but I think for what we got, I'm okay with it. It's enough.
The thing that got me for it was the showing of him becoming Vader. Not
the rise of the scene.
Yeah, the rise up scene. That was
perfect.
That was
perfect.
That was, but to me, that didn't pay off as much. I think there should have been more of like a build up to him like becoming Vader, right? But like the fight with Obi-Wan, you could feel like the fall of a brothers, and then him storming the Jedi Academy and like going into the room of young ones. And you're thinking when you're watching this for the first time, you're like, he's not going to kill kids. He has kids. He has kids coming to him. But then you realize he has to protect his own, so he has to do what he must.
I guess I am. Oh, sorry. Continue.
Sorry, no, go for it.
I was going to respond to the comment. The fact that I always call myself the most pretentious person on here. I actually liked Prometheus and Covenant, both of them. No, I Lucas, Last Jedi, he loves it. I don't like that we got that instead of other things, but I think the movie does enough to save itself. I just have like the problem with the kamikaze light speed. I think the movie is trying to do too much with the Canto Bight scene, where they have a whole B plot that just doesn't go anywhere and ends up with Phasma getting kind of killed in an unceremonious way, where we're just like, okay, Captain Phasma, nobody cares about you.
It's supposed to be the new Boba Fett, but it didn't pay off like Boba Fett.
Yeah, and I didn't like that they introduced Rose Tico because she didn't really do anything. It was just a way to pull Finn in a different direction. And I have no, hate towards Kelly Marie Tran. She's great. She did a great job as Raya, but the whole it just felt, and then the mutiny with Laura Dern hiding all the info from Poe, it just feels so dumb. But Mark Hamill acting as like when he turns around and he's just like, because I'm Luke, like I did all this stuff, I failed. I'm as awesome as I am, but I failed as hard as I did because I am Luke Skywalker, and just the pain and suffering and the years of toil on his face, like his acting in that movie as the tired, exiled, self-induced exiled Jedi is just chef's kiss. It is just so. I love Mark Hamill so much and everything he does that I think that's his best. Like even beyond the Joker, and I hate to say it, but like he's just doing the voices Joker. This when you get to see him actually emoting and actually being an actor, because he's done so much voice stuff for the past 20 years. When you see him as Luke Skywalker, but a defeated and depressed Luke Skywalker, we're treated to his just really good acting. That if you look at the first Star Wars movie, he's not the most capable actor in that.
No, he's not.
And see, it's beautiful to see. Like he is a master actor, and he is doing
the growth of somebody.
Yeah, and like when he faces off a Kylo, and he's just like. When Kylo shoots at him, and he got into shape really quick, and like you got to really respect that is Mark Hamill's best Luke Skywalker performance, because he's doing so much more than anything he had to do. You could argue Return of the Jedi with him and Vader, but there's just so much more content with Luke being the guy trying to get Rey to leave him alone so he doesn't have to take responsibility, to the point where he's drinking milk like I'm gonna show you how nasty I am so you'll leave me alone. But yeah, weird choice Ryan Johnson with the milk. We did not need to see that. I was just like, I looked at the person next to me, I was like, what?
So Whisper is also saying so many movies flop with directors pander to the audience and market. DC Universe, Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, I mean, so some movies do great, some movies don't. To that extent, I mean, look at the Sonic movie. The Sonic movie didn't have a character that resembled the character at all. But then the audience was like, unscrew your problem there. And then they made him and became what he was.
Well, they were also lucky because they caught that so early in the development process. They did end up delaying the film, but they caught it early enough to where like, hey, we can fix this.
And then the same thing for DC, where we finally got the Zack Snyder cut. But back to what I was saying about my favorite movie as well. Yeah, you're good. This has been this whole stream. It's been a great talk because it's been like because how much we love Star Wars. Mm-hmm. There's so much we can talk about and other facets that also go along with Star Wars.
That's why I titled it Star Wars Discussion, because we can't really, I mean, we could break
fights,
it down, but
the lightsaber fights for Revenge of the Sith, awesome to me. The fight on the on the cruiser with Dooku and Obi-Wan and Anakin in the beginning, I loved it. I loved watching Yoda and Palpatine fight. Who thought we were going to get that? Who? And seeing how Palpatine could easily just slay Jedi Masters like it was nothing, and the only one who could possibly stop him was Mace Windu. Mace Windu would have been the only Jedi to stop Palpatine. Yoda lost to Palpatine. But seeing the fact that happen was crazy to me. And then seeing how Anakin could just turn on somebody for a split instant because he got told there's other ways besides the light. The dark can bring you so much more. Like, that is what I said earlier in the stream.
But it has a huge cost. At a huge
cost. Exactly. But that's what I said earlier in the stream was like, I'm a big fan of the black and white, good versus evil. And Revenge of the Sith is a good example of the good versus evil like fight.
I can see like a Sith at a job interview, and they're like, "So, you want to be a Sith? What do you think about kids? You like kids? We're gonna have to get rid of some of those if you want to
screw them kids."
Like here's some. I meant to say younglings, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Whisper said the lightsaber fight between Rey and Kylo in Awakens is awesome. So much weight and rawness.
I liked it, but it
showcased two people that didn't know how to use their tools the most efficient ways.
No. Kylo is just toying with her the entire time. He doesn't want to kill her. He knows what he's doing. But he let his guard down because your confidence is your weakness, as Luke says.
I think there's a slight chance that Yoda taught Luke wrong in the Swamps of Dagobah of how to use a lightsaber. Just saying. And then Luke translates that to Kylo. Just saying.
Apparently, you don't need to train to use a lightsaber. Anyway, but it's like the idea that when you saw that fight, very fulfilling. But you're like, ooh, I can't wait till next movie when they've trained so we can see them fight like they did in Revenge of the Sith. No, we don't get any of that.
We do get the Snoke throne room scene, though, from Last Jedi. And out of all the sequel movies, that is the best action scene ever in the sequels.
Were you more hyped when that happened or when the Stormtrooper walks up to Finn and goes, "Traitor"?
Oh, that was hands down best scene. That was the best scene in all the sequels. But Traitor Trooper for President 2024, please.
Oh man, Force Awakens so good. But yeah, that throne room scene. Lucas was talking about that being the first time we saw a lightsaber being used, pulling a lightsaber with the Force while it's on. Mm-hmm. Which was then paid off in the next movie with the lightsaber throw, which we'd never seen in a live action movie. All the video games did it for 20 years, but none of the movies. So yeah.
But then like the slicing of Snoke, like, granted, not that character was a throwaway character at that point.
Yeah.
But the shock of them killing him like that was like, oh,
it was
that was your bad guy.
It was confusing to me to an extent. I've never been less excited for a movie than Rise of Skywalker, because the way that The Last Jedi ended, it was like, who's fighting who? You know, there's the conflict was so sporadic. Yeah, nothing. You know, nothing.
Kylo Ren became like his great like his grandpappy. He went youngling stomping. He put his youngin boots on.
The boy who grabbed the broom, he was actually there was a Sith named Voldemort, and he killed that kid's parents. That's why he said up and grabbed the broomstick, and he ended up killing
Go
off
home
the
just so
Sith
you're
Lord
drunk.
Voldemort.
Oh wait, you are home. Stop drinking.
You guys, because we're talking about everything Star Wars, I was kind of thinking about this, and I don't know if you got to this yet, because we're talking about lightsaber fights and different scenes.
Right.
Can we talk about lightsabers in general? Like, who has the best? Did you guys talk about that? I just have to,
No.
because I don't know. Because I was just thinking of because we're talking about The Force Awakens. I'm thinking of Kylo Ren's lightsaber, and I was like, that's a pretty cool. And then I was like, oh, who has the best? And then I'm just thinking his is kind of like I can't remember in the fights. Like, does the ones on the side do anything really? It's just
exhaust because he has a cracked crystal.
Exhaust, right? Okay.
Yeah, but it's a guard, so if you try to slide your lightsaber down, you could stop it. And then
he
also uses it in the only time he ever uses it is it. Go ahead.
Sorry, Ezra Miller has a crossblade lightsaber in Rebels, though.
Ezra Miller? You mean the guy who plays Flash, or Ezra?
Sorry, Ezra, whatever his name is. Sorry. Wow, brain fart. Sorry, Ezra.
Yeah, Ahsoka Tano has the two where it's one shorter than the other, and she has that was probably one of the best lightsaber scenes we've ever seen, with her being like Batman with her lightsabers.
Inquisitors have a very interesting.
I haven't gotten to the Inquisitors yet because I haven't seen. Well, I played Fallen Order, so I see a couple of them.
The rotating helicopter blade where they can fly away.
Can they really fly away? That's dumb.
Yeah, they fly away on them.
No.
They Mary Poppins out. They're just like hashtag deuces.
I can't even.
Hey, Katrina, we'll get to this one, so I'm gonna pin this question. Just because I brought up. I mean, we can kind of jump around. So I kind of because as I was thinking of Kylo Ren's, I think to me the best one, just thinking real quick, just popped in my head, was Darth Maul's. I think to me that one was the best one. So I googled
dun dun.
Let me see. I can pull it up for you guys.
Like when he lights the one blade and then the other blade. It's like ah.
Legends continuity, the lightsaber whip.
I have yet to see that. I have yet to see it where it's cool. But I know what you're talking about. It could be really cool if we get that.
So this is what they have ranked as. I mean, it just showed up on the top. Where is? Oh, that's
it's not very strong.
I don't know why,
but it's cool looking.
I don't know why Vader's is number 2. It is just a red lightsaber. It is just a red lightsaber. Mace Windu's is purple.
Dooku's curved lightsaber too.
Yes, Dooku is probably my favorite.
Very elegant.
I love.
Do you know Dooku refused to fight people who had 2 sabers because he called them weak and pathetic?
He fights so much with just one hand. He fences. Mm-hmm. He's a fencer, and he is. I love Dooku. What was I going to say?
He was such a
The only problem
character.
I have with Dooku is the just jarring, fake as hell looking flip that he does in Revenge of the Sith, where he just flips from balcony to balcony. It is the most obvious CGI I've ever seen besides Mortal Kombat Annihilation. But it's like, oh, that was rough CGI people. We are. It's like, that was not a person flipping. But he was, to be fair, he was in his 80s, I think, when he did that. So good for him. Rest in peace, Christopher Lee.
Love you. Love him. Love you. God.
Twice the pride, double the fall.
So I'm just putting this up because I know we all like love Star Wars, but for those who kind of need a refresher of like different lightsabers, there's that one.
Can we talk about in Rey's vision real quick? How she could have had a double bladed lightsaber that was like a little switchblade, like a butterfly blade.
Oh,
that would have been so awesome if that came to fruition.
Yeah,
that would have.
We got it for 2 seconds.
Yeah,
that's 2 seconds. I wonder.
And I was
why
like, Rey, goth look works on you. Keep it up. Keep up the goth look. I'm liking where this is going.
Really miss Neil Landy from Star Wars. Rest in peace, Qui-Gon.
I would miss him, but he was the guy to give us the exposition about midichlorians. So yeah, too bad. Yeah.
And also brought us to Hang On, who was Rey's mother.
Yeah, look at that bad boy. Jane Doe, Mrs. Nobody.
Rey's a clone.
No, Rey is a daughter.
I know. I'm just Rey's a clone.
Hey Lucas, because I know you and I have been at the parks. Can you get this one at Hollywood Studios? Okay, I don't remember seeing that one.
Oh, have y'all seen the new Disney? I know Lucas has, but Alex, have you seen the new lightsaber you're going to be able to buy next year?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you could bring that up.
You haven't seen it yet, Alex?
No. It looks like a real lightsaber.
It retracts and it goes back. It's a retractable
it's
one.
not telescopic.
Is that the one that Disney's been working on or trying to bring
it got released 2 days ago.
Showed a demo video of it yesterday, May the 4th. So, what's the hotel called? Because that's how you find it.
Is it?
You'll need to see a video of it. It's only
this right here.
Seconds. Yeah.
Okay. Well, this could have been in the theme park news. I don't know if you did that.
No.
Well, interesting. Let's see.
It is unbelievable how awesome this looks.
Let's see if there's a video. Hopefully, Disney doesn't block this video.
IGN on YouTube.
Well, then you have to watch a 30-second ad if you go to IGN's channel.
Well, here's this right here.
Yeah, there you go. That's it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, for those who have not seen it.
I wouldn't imagine this advertisement would be copyrighted.
I know. Oh, I don't know. It's Disney. Oh, you saw what happened last week. No,
13 seconds. It should be within.
Oh, wait, hold on. It's not playing.
The suspense is killing me.
Look at that.
So they got it to.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then watch as she slices her arm off with it on accident. No,
right.
It's so cool. I want one.
All the kids are raving about it.
Is there a Disney at this hotel they're doing? Is there an experience where you get that lightsaber and then they bring a bunch of kindergartners in and you just go to town?
Oh my God.
That's just
stop it.
Justin.
And then at the end you get like a red lightsaber with a robe and you're you're a Sith Lord now. It's you have to get.
I'll do it.
You have to get 9 at least. How many younglings? I got 9.
I'll do it. I don't care. I'll do it.
You're just tapping them. You're just tapping them with the light. You're not doing.
I will break them.
There'll be Disney cast members that act like they're being cut with lights.
I'll do it.
Look at that! Look at that bad boy. I don't want that lightsaber, but I want one of those.
Yo, I tell you what, I feel better that I didn't get one yet. That is so cool. I mean, look,
I'm
with the
gonna
sound
buy
of
one
everything,
of those. Yeah.
Finally, because that's what I wanted. Because remember, for everyone in the chat, we had a discussion about this. I can't remember how long ago, but we're talking about theme park theming, and we're talking about Galaxy's Edge. And I said for me, why Galaxy's Edge wasn't number one. Well, part of it, I guess, is the lightsabers. They're not like that. They're already extended and you're just walking around with this glowing stick, I guess you can say. And I wanted something if they could do something like that, plus make Galaxy's Edge interactive, then Galaxy's Edge for me would probably move up number 1 over Harry Potter, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at Universal Studios. So
the question is,
So is this
how
the move
hard-
on making it number
how
1?
hard can you hit things with those? Because can you have a battle with those without them breaking? That's the question.
I mean,
I don't
there's
know.
if they stand up to like Saberforge, then maybe because Saberforge makes really, really good lightsabers.
I mean, this
for like,
quality looks so good that I feel like you'd be afraid to do that because it looks so premium, right?
I wouldn't want to hit somebody with that.
You don't want to have a fake lightsaber battle with that?
I mean, I do, but like I said, I would buy a Saberforge lightsaber over using a mechanical retractable Disney lightsaber.
How did
It's
they do that?
the only
I'm
thing
curious.
I don't know the physics behind it. The one it's almost perfect if you can hit things with it, and if it was just a little bit faster of a retraction. Like that's how fast it's supposed to go into the saber, but normally when you light a saber, it's almost instantaneous. So
I mean,
otherwise, when Rey has it to that throne guard, when she taps the button and it goes through the head, it goes really quickly through the head.
Jake, yeah, man. I had a friend who was really into Saberforge for a very long time.
I always get Mike Wazowski with the comments when you bring me down that way. I'm like, I'm on TV.
have a good night. Thank you for coming.
Have a good
in.
night.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
all
watching.
your
Appreciate
takes,
you.
Whisper. Awesome points.
They were really good points. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
And Disney has become too corporate. Obviously, that's
Yeah.
both a good and bad thing. That's a good and bad thing.
It is.
It means there'll be a
But-
lot of content, but will it
More
be good?
content equals better, more stuff. I mean, look, Mandalorian perfectly.
I still want, like, I will never be satisfied unless we get some Old Republic stuff, or we need brand new characters. We don't need, and I'm not like beyond Mandalorians. We need just brand new characters that don't rely on. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Give me
Jake
something
coming in
new.
with more stuff now. Yeah, buddy. I don't know what all that means, but I know it's
Flex.
going to be pretty.
He's flexing here with his.
Yeah, big old Star Wars flex. I still have my OPC killer toy. What up, son?
Jake has a VR game that has been modded so that you can use a lightsaber in it, and it's really fun. You can be very vicious and dismember limbs and stuff.
That's awesome.
Wow.
I think I've seen that one. Unless
Yeah.
it's something that's just been modded that he knows of.
Oh my god, it's so fun.
But so I want to end this though, guys, tonight with this question though at the same time. Because I'm sure all of us has our favorite trilogy and our not favorite trilogy. So
Well, I before we go and before we get into that, the one last thing I want to touch on, the Phantom Menace. We didn't talk much about. We didn't talk much about Attack of the Clones either. But the pod race. If any of you ever have the opportunity, if you ever meet somebody who has a surround sound system
Mhm.
and can turn the volume up really loud, watch the pod race in surround sound. It is one of the best uses of surround sound I've ever heard. It is the coolest. That every time they go by, vroom, vroom, and the dick, and on the third or fourth lap, when the music starts swelling, when Sebulba and Anakin are like neck and neck, hands down, I love the pod race. I don't care.
Dog,
how
so
bad
Bulba
they're
was a
doing.
little butthole and I loved him.
But anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Just a shout out to the pod race. One of the coolest things ever. Very, very unique. We don't really get that in any other movies. We get sword fights in other movies. We don't get pod races. So.
Well, if you want to touch on Attack of the Clones, when I was young, I mean, all of us who are little kids at heart, like the gladiator scene with the animals, with the Acklay and the Nexu and the Reek, all those, that was cool, right? Or am I the only one who's in
Jedi, the rave dance party in the crowd,
Well,
and everybody
that's
lights
a whole
their
nother story.
lightsabers. It's like, whoa!
But like seeing all the creatures, like that's another thing about
So
Star Wars. Like,
creative.
the creatures.
So creative.
Like think of Phantom Menace real quick when they leave the Gungan city and you see the OPC killer, you see the crawl, like I don't remember the name of it. It's like the crawfish. I know it's not crawfish, but it's like the Acklay is from Attack of the Clones, and then you have this
for some stupid reason,
what is it, the Sandu Aqua Monster or something along the lines of that.
I don't know.
You have all these creatures that look magnificent in these on grand scale, and then you get them again in Attack on the Clones, and I'm like, let's do this, George Lucas. When I'm young, I'm like, I want all these toys, I want all this, but then at the same time, like the first time we actually see the war in Star Wars was Attack of the Clones, when you see the opening shot of all the clones charging on the droid army, you see like the rockets firing off and dropping all the middle of the command ships as they're at all the droid command ships.
The first time you see Mace Windu holding onto the handle with all the clones around him, just barking out orders, and then Yoda comes up and he's like, around the survivors, a perimeter create, and you're like, Yoda, you really got to learn how to speak to people, because it's not good battle tactic ordering, but whatever. It is just the most hypest. Like, that's what makes stories good. When you get Han Solo come back, when he wasn't at the perfect moment, when you get the Jedis come in with that clone army, and it's like, let's go. Everybody's got a lightsaber. We got Jango Fett versus Mace Windu. We got Dooku just sitting there reacting to everything. We got the Death Star plans revealed at the end of that. Geez, so much stuff going on at the end of that. So much crap to get there, but
I think favorite trilogy, guys, as our ending topic. To wrap this up. Do you have to think? Do y'all know?
Oh, no,
I know mine.
I talk so much, so I can go if everybody's thinking, but definitely OG for me. Each trilogy has 1 to 2 movies that just detracts from the trilogy. Return of the Jedi is, there's a lot of that movie that just doesn't work for me with I love it, but the OG trilogy, as far as like one movie to the next with it's consistent in characters, because Phantom Menace, you get rid of Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon is a huge deal of that. Obi-Wan not kind of sidelined in Phantom Menace until the end when he has the fight with Darth Maul. So you're not really staying with the same people. And I think the prequels, if you don't like the CGI, fine. It doesn't bother me, but the worst things the prequels have is pacing. All 3 of the original trilogy perfectly paced adventure films. And I can't not. They have like my favorite moment, I think, in all in Star Wars, and it's really hard to pick this, is Yoda training Luke. Not very, in retrospect, Yoda's not the best teacher. but
he trained Dooku.
Yeah. So. Well, from what we've seen personally, I don't know how Yoda is the best teacher, but yeah, he trained Dooku, who then went evil. So again, not a good teacher. But when he's telling Luke, and like I said, it's the most quotable lines, where he's like, Luke, you can lift the X-Wing out. It's the same. Its size doesn't matter. The Force, he starts to really explain what the Force means, what the Force is. And he's like, we're not these crude, fleshy things. We're luminous beings. And sometimes those luminous beings get their actors replaced to keep up with the new trilogy. But, we're not going to talk about that. But and then when Luke gives up, and then Yoda comes up and is like, I got this, lifts the X-Wing up, moves it over there. And Luke is like, I don't believe it. And Yoda's like, that is why you fail. Character growth with Luke, best character growth. And then I know I'm still supposed to be talking about the original trilogy, but the fact that Luke does that in Rise of Skywalker is my favorite moment of Rise of Skywalker, when he raises the X-Wing out for Rey. But the original trilogy, I mean, you get the best dynamic trio.
You mean Last Jedi? Wait a second, I just caught you.
No, in Rise of Skywalker, Luke raises the X-Wing up for Rey when she goes back and he's dead.
You're right. I'm stupid. Don't listen to me. I'm a terrible fan.
It's okay, Lucas. We've dealt with it for years. So. But yeah, OG trilogy, man. Other than the weird, sibling stuff, which after seeing Game of Thrones, not that big of a deal.
Yeah, right.
Not that big of a deal.
Right.
with the
Right.
Yeah, and of course Obi-Wan is kind of a jerk to Luke to an extent because he's like, hey, I didn't lie to you about your dad. It's like, yeah, you did. You
Mhm.
legitimately. It's not true from a certain point of view, you fool. You literally lied. And I don't know. It's so good. It's so good. I love everything about it. When Luke comes in with his new outfit and he's like, I got a gift for Jabba. These droids. And it's like all part of his plan. And he's OG black, got his green lightsaber, Luke Skywalker. Favorite trilogy for sure.
I
Alex?
agree. Yeah, I agree with Justin. It'd be the OG. I mean, and I think, yeah, Jake said OG too. So, and for any of you guys in the chat that are watching, like, drop what's your, you guys can participate. What's your favorite trilogy? Yeah, just pretty much every point that Justin made. Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, Jake.
All right, Jake. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Like you said,
Have a good
drop a
night.
like, nerds.
Yes. It helps out our channels. Thank you.
It does.
And again, I mean, like, one of my favorite characters throughout like all the movies is Darth Vader, and just the iconic, like, I mean, the music, his voice, his costume, his presence, the intimidation level, like, it was just all.
It's not a movie,
We're talking Skywalker Saga, but
but I'll give you that.
Understandable.
And it's understandable.
Not the first season, second season.
But yeah, I mean, just and you're talking about opening scene. We were just talking about it when we were like last week when I was bringing up the scene where he's choking the guy and he's asking him like and it was just like, it's like, okay.
By the way,
have
you ever heard of David Prowse is?
Yeah.
So if for those of you who don't know, in the comments, you can look up the actor who is in the suit, different from James Earl Jones, who does the voice.
Mhm.
It is funny because they recorded that actor saying the lines, and he's like got a subtle Scottish accent. So when he's talking, he's like, "She's an ally to the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take her away." And it's not like at all like Darth Vader. It's like, y'all made a good choice. Get James Earl Jones. You can look that up. It's funny.
I'll have to. But yeah, like, yeah, it's for me the OG. I mean, just everything. R2D2. I mean, for just the characters. Princess Leia, I didn't really care for until a little bit later. She kind of annoyed me in the first one, but anyways. But yeah, and then there's everything. Just yeah. And I mean, here's the other thing, the key part that just ties everything together is that I was, like I said, 6 years old and watching the OG trilogy, and that's all, that was kind of like, that caught my eye. Like for me to be that little kid, and I was into like, other stuff that were just fascinating. And this kind of caught my eye for how old it is. All 3 movies, even though I didn't know what was going on, I'm just seeing like, to me, I think all I cared about was like I said, the lightsabers and all the shooting and then the flying. And I'm just like, ooh, aha, ooh, But then, as you get older now, you know what the story is about, because there was no way 6-year-old's going to be knowing the story from, oh, yes, that was a great movie, New Hope, from the beginning of the, but just that, being a young kid, and it caught my eye, and I was just amazed by everything. So,
and 3 words about the original trilogy: it's a trap.
It is a trap. A huge trap. A trap for our lives.
Well, I mean, some people start young, some people start later, some people start in their 50s, but
it's not going
some
anywhere.
People start somewhere. It's not. It's going to keep coming out.
Yeah. What about you, Justin?
So,
I already said OG trilogy.
Lucas. I mean, Justin, Lucas.
You are.
I'm tired too. I'm tired, you guys.
So, unpopular opinion, but so I grew up watching the prequels. There you go. You knew it before I even said it.
I could guess.
So I grew up watching the original trilogy with my aunt on VHS. Right?
Ooh.
I watched them. I watched a lot of them. But the first Star Wars movie I saw in theaters was Phantom Menace, and then I saw Attack of the Clones, and then I saw Revenge of the Sith. And even though I knew what Star Wars was from the old movies, those were the movies of my childhood. So that's what resonates Star Wars to me. The flashy lightsaber scenes, the over the top like dialogue, the stupid CG, like these like abundance of characters that you want to pick and choose who your favorite one is and who your least favorite one. I love Roger droids. You get out of here.
I just said Roger. I didn't say
I know.
nothing.
Just
I didn't say nothing.
I love learning where all the characters I fell in love with came from. Like finding out that Leia, like granted I don't like Leia, but I understand that she's, you know, a Banff, right? But look at her mother. Look at Padme. Padme did not take any punches. Padme was a rebel. Padme did whatever she wanted, however she wanted to.
Till the third movie.
That was one of my flaws with the third movie is Padme for sure. But at Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, we got to see why Leia is such the character she is because of her mother. And her mother was arguably, I think, more of a badass than she was.
Oh, for sure. Until, well...
And then you have...
I don't know. Her mother didn't fly through space with the Force. So
don't talk to me about that. Do not talk to me about that. That is trash. Anyways. And then we, like I said earlier, Anakin, the story of Anakin and the fall of Anakin, just... like you said, Alex, you love Darth Vader. I love Darth Vader.
Sand. I don't like sand.
One of my top 3 favorite scenes of Star Wars ever is the Darth Vader hallway scene from Rogue One. But to see where he came from and what caused all the hate and all the anger and everything that would change him from this sweet young little boy with all this hope and like wonder in his eyes into this menacing, dark, anger-fueled monstrosity that is Lord Vader. Like seeing that, it made me feel something. Yeah. And then seeing like the dog fights in space. Like think of the Naboo fight with the yellow starfighters. A yellow starfighter. That was awesome. That was amazing to me. And then the other fighters were droids. Yes.
I forget the name of those. I used to have a little model of that when I was a kid.
Wasn't it just called like a Naboo starfighter?
It had a Nubian cruiser. Nubian cruiser.
I think.
I think that's what it's called.
I'm not going to 100% that.
I can look that up.
But like the dogfight in space with all that, and seeing how Anakin is like an ace pilot already, like in space. Makes sense.
The Nubian cruiser was Amidala's sleek silver ship.
Those were dope too.
Yeah.
And each time, each movie, she got a different one of those too. Where in the final one was like this big old stealth bomber. Like, I know the prequel trilogy gets a lot of hate, but I feel like the sequel trilogy gets even more hate now. And people appreciate the prequel trilogies a little bit more now. But at the same time, like I understand where Star Wars came from, but I will 100% say I like the prequel trilogy as a whole better.
You know, to add to what you're saying, Lucas, I remember after watching, 4, 5, and 6, and then when I had a chance to watch 1, 2, and 3, like you said, just because I remember when I saw Anakin, I didn't really... as you get older, you kind of put names together. Like I said, I just saw a little boy and I didn't know that was, Darth Vader. But like, you're right. Just seeing that, like this little boy that was just like innocent, happy, whatever, and then turns into who he is, in, A New Hope. So you get that little backstory, like you said. So that does make, because here's the thing. I had no hate. So I don't know if I even mentioned this, but I have no hate for the prequels. Like, I think they were good. And I think
you don't need to have C-3PO being built by Darth Vader. He doesn't need to be a part of the prequel trilogy. That's
your takeaway? That's the thing that gets you?
Why is C-3PO in these movies? I love Anthony Daniels. Why? That's dumb. It's dumb. Sorry.
But yeah, just like, because, you go back and even if you watch it, you're just seeing Anakin as a little boy and he's like being all like, oh, I got a pod racer and all this stuff. And he's just all
into an angel.
Yeah. And then like you just see him like like you're just wondering like what happened, like where did this like
so
come
full of
from?
hope
Just
and
go to
wonder.
darkness, yeah, like
And
you
even
know,
though he lived in like a slave encampment, basically,
yeah,
like he had such like aspirations and like wanting to be better than what he was and like to bring a life for his mother. And then that little boy literally turns into like one of the biggest mass murderers ever existed.
yeah.
I don't
But I
like
mean,
Fand.
but like I said, it goes back to the OG.
It's
So
rough.
but that's what I like. We all, you know, you have different opinions. Like, you know, I'm surprised. No one in the chat really said anything. You know, because knowing, you know, that the Star Wars now is for this generation, I'm pretty sure this generation would say they like that trilogy
The
better.
sequels.
Sequels.
Who's
So
the best droid, by the way? Who's the best droid in the
K2SO.
movies? In the movies.
K2SO.
Well, Skywalker Saga. Who's the best droid?
Best droid for Skywalker Saga?
Mm-hmm.
R2D2.
yeah, I was gonna say because he,
Better than BB-8?
I don't like BB-8.
yeah,
What? I agree with R2D2 being the best.
yeah.
We really need to give him some subtitles.
All over though is the IG-88 assassin droid, voiced by Taika Waititi.
Initiating self-destruct.
Love him. I love that droid.
Taika Waititi's goat. Sorry to throw that out there. We just didn't even talk about the droids too much.
We didn't even talk about Mandalorian.
The fact
really.
that word is
there's
patented.
just so much. Like
So
I said,
every
there's
time.
so much.
Literally half this stream was just talking about Legends, I feel like, or what Legends could bring.
Video games. Baby Grogu, adorable. Star Wars. We didn't even touch on the fact that Star Wars knows how to make crap adorable, like ridiculously adorable for no reason. What else? I mean, so much stuff.
Yeah,
We didn't even talk about the wild, eh? Little Annie,
Otto.
little orphan Annie.
Little
eh?
Annie.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Those Caminos, those cloners.
Or Dex.
there's
Wow,
so
what do you know?
Looks like you got one of them Camino darts.
Watto, we need a Disney Plus Watto series.
yeah, I agree. I mean, we are gonna get to that, Katrina, but I haven't even started season 2. So I don't know if these two gentlemen. Oh, okay, yeah. I finished the first one a long time ago when it came up with the second one. I started it and then I just never, and I got busy. And yeah, so once I get through season 2, we will put that on the list. I mean, hopefully soonish, but like, because everyone's talking about everything, so everything's already spoiled for me. I'm just like, I don't care really, because I'm just like, it was bound to happen. But yeah, I need to get on the second season. I know, and Lucas here has always been on me on that, and some other stuff like Marvel.
I've been on you since the first day we actually met in person.
Most of them are 30-minute episodes. I mean, good lord.
I know. I could binge watch it. I just need to, my day off is tomorrow, and we'll see.
I watched
Star Wars
season
week.
1 and 2
Star Wars week, you're right,
of Mandalorian with my mom in a day. Both seasons in one day.
Yeah, I mean,
she was just like, "Well, we're not doing anything. You'll just keep going." I'm like, "You like it, huh? You like the show, huh?" And she's like, "Yeah, I like it."
Yeah,
not the typical Star Wars fan, but
yeah, it's not like it's like Game of Thrones. Like I can't do that in one day. Like there's two.
I mean, it's good, but like Game of Thrones, completely different thing. I get very triggered.
Yeah, well, that last season. But anyway,
I'm gonna get a lot of hate for the Mandalorian stream because I don't like the first season. But
you kind of have a fan right here with Katrina, because she says she doesn't want to like it at all either.
Well, okay, season 2 so good though.
I enjoyed season 1, but see, I haven't tried season 2, so maybe I'll look at it, season 1 differently, and I'll be like, you know what, you guys, I might be with Justin and be like, yeah, I think I like season 2 and season 1.
If you appreciate cinema, season 2 of Mandalorian does so many cinematographical things that is
potato.
Anyway, I will get into that in the stream. Anyway,
Caribbean.
Well, I will say, and I haven't talked to Lucas yet, but talking about what's coming up next for the stream, unless we're going to do another Star Wars. If not, we need to get to that Luca trailer, even though it's kind of late. And yeah,
we can try and do that tomorrow, actually, because we need to
get it out of the way.
This Sunday is Mother's Day, so I am not going to be on a stream.
I work all day. There's no getting out of that one. I'm working all day.
And all you moms, watch out for Tuscan Raiders. Don't. That's never a good idea. Just stay away from those.
But yeah, I guess so. Then tomorrow we will do a live stream of I don't know why I was gonna say Tuca Luca.
Coco Loco.
But yeah, you guys. I'm glad, gentlemen. Thank you for starting the stream. I'm glad I was able to get in. I'm glad, it looks like you can handle it. That's why I trust you as a host. There's gonna be times like this where we just gotta, someone's gotta fly the plane until the other co-pilot, or I think it's tri-pilot, because there's 3 of us, comes in. So.
And I should be having my own YouTube channel soon, so look out for that.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah, let's go, boy.
But yeah, so thank you for everyone who has joined the stream. Thank you for hitting that like button. Really appreciate it. Thank you for always being here, supporting, and I love you, Katrina. Thank you for always being there as a mod and doing all that you do. Always supportive. But yeah, we will do a stream tomorrow. I'm guessing let's try 8 o'clock.
Let's do 8 o'clock.
Yeah, so 8 o'clock, we will stick with that time and do a reaction trailer to Luca.
Yep.
And yeah, then that's it. But yeah, gentlemen, good job today for starting off. Like I said, good talk. There's so much Star Wars you could talk about.
Oh, so much Star Wars.
I know I'm tired. I don't know. Yeah, you were off today, but yeah. So I'm sorry for anyone.
I gotta work tomorrow.
I'm not that pep. I'm kind of very talkative Batman. I'm like the leave me alone, and I'm gonna go hide in the shadows and kind
you
of.
Boo.
Yeah. But anyways, you guys, thank you so much. Love each and every one of you, and we'll be here tomorrow for 8. Are you going to be part of it, Justin?
I will not be available.
Okay.
But
all right.
I've already seen the trailer though, so.
Okay. Well. Yeah. Okay. So then there's be you guys, ladies and gentlemen, there's going to be Lucas and I doing it.
Yep.
But yeah, on that note, I was going to say a Batman one, but I'm just going to say, may the force be with you.
And Revenge of the 5th, guys.
Yeah, Revenge of the 5th.
It's a trap. That's my quote. It's a trap.
Liar!
Right,
subscribe to In the Batloop, but not just In the Batloop, but Adventures by Ables and my future channel too.
Yes. And we'll catch you tomorrow, guys. Have a good night.
All right.